So let's talk about Evangelion. Yeah, reviewing this shit. First thing I gotta say about Evangelion. Opening's pretty good. I guess we should start at the opening. It is a very important series to the development of anime. It just is. So it does deserve some of the credit it gets, just because it developed the whole, character scheme. You can see the characters just about everywhere. With the exception, arguably, of this asshole who almost ruined the series for me. If you know who this is, you know why I hate him. It is, of course, Shinji. This pussy prick. In a way, it's more realistic. Would you want to fight a giant robot and kill a bunch of people? Probably not. It's gonna fuck up your day, especially if you got emotional problems and you're all kind of stupid. Anyway, yeah. So he kind of almost ruined the series for me. But having said that, the series, at least for me, I'm not a big mecha fan in general. I like Robotech. I don't mind a little Gundam, but I have a hard time getting past. These are giant robots. Why don't they just have really badass missiles to take out these robots? I'm sorry, that's where my head goes. But having said that, this one's pretty amazing. The fighting scenes are more realistic. Number one, they don't just have endless amounts of power. I don't want to characterize this too much as a mecha, because a lot of the plot focuses on relationships. Basically, the characters start out in totally different spots. You got Shinji, who a lot of people just call pussy, but I kind of get where he's going. You got Asuka, who is kind of, I don't want to say she's a bitch, but she's like if you were going to pick a teenage bitch, it'd kind of be like her if you didn't really have a bitch with you. You know what I mean? And I'm not referring to bitch in just female terms. If you had, my brother's kind of a bitch. Or asshole. I don't know. I don't know why they're gender specific, you gotta pick a gender with asshole and bitch. But you do. Anyway, I'd say that this one is, she's just kind of annoying, but she helps with character development. She comes from this overconfident, she's German, number 1, 2, or 3, I don't know. And then you got Ray, who is kind of really quiet. And in that way, her subtle actions make a big difference. Everybody else is, always jumping up and down, screaming and shit. She's just kind of sitting back, not doing that much. So everything she does becomes incredibly important, if that makes sense. You got Shinji's father, forgotten his name, because he's kind of a forgettable character. To be honest, I think that they could have done better with him. I'm not going to go through the rest of them. But, I said like 8 times just then. The characters are what makes this series good, because they actually are able to capture what happens when a person is basically going through a bunch of emotional shit and they kind of collapse. It's like watching a slow train crash, you know what I mean? If you watch those shows where trains just, it's a lot like that. He's fucked up to begin with, and they basically just explain kind of why, and they kind of explain why all these characters have bad shit. I don't want to spoil anything, but a lot of people really, I'm gonna just switch topics. A lot of people were very disappointed in the ending of this series, because they thought it ended abruptly. They thought that it really didn't have a satisfactory ending. It didn't really answer questions. It just kind of ended. I did not think so. I thought that the ending, number one, the guy who was directing this or, you know, was writing this, like, tried to commit suicide and had a nervous breakdown and shit. I mean, the guy was going through a bunch of shit, and you kind of can see it in the writing. But it's like the ending was so fucked up of the series that it was beautiful, you know? I mean, all the characters ended up in the same spot. You know, you started out with this crazy bitch, you started out with this really quiet lady, pussy, and they just all come together in the end kind of mentally. They're all in the same place mentally. And arguably they all represent different aspects of the one human being. I mean, I've heard it described that way. And in that way, it's amazing how they did that. Having said that, was the ending a little cheap? If it wasn't so self-reflecting, you know, I'd say so. But it really was. It was pretty good, in my opinion. It's also one of the most groundbreaking series. Like I said, these characters you can find just about everywhere. I mean, arguably, well, I mean, I'm not going to go into that. But you can find them just about anywhere. You know, you watch, it's kind of like the blueprint for anime ever since. So, and the animation quality was better than most, and the sound quality, and they really put a lot of effort into it. But, I'd say in general, just because it's so groundbreaking, and the animation's not bad, the music's actually pretty good, at least the opening and the ending song grows on you. I don't know. I'd give it probably an 8 out of 10, because it's so fucking groundbreaking. I mean, give me another anime that's so groundbreaking. And don't just say Cowboy Bebop or Bebop. I always say Depot. Or Fooly Cooly. Those are totally different kinds of shows. This one's all overly dramatic. Fooly Cooly's a comedy, you know. Cowboy Bebop or Bebop, I guess, is an action show, you know. I mean, they're different kinds of shows. Give me a drama that was this influential, you know. It's hard to find one. I mean, arguably, and I don't want to get into it. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, write, view again. Bye.